So I'm telling you now, if you get an opportunity, maximize your opportunity, because you don't know when you're going to get it again. There's a difference between an opportunity and a chance. But you know, I get pretty good grades, except for the semester that I pledged, but we don't want to talk about that. But I built my grades back up, and I graduated, and you know, I started my life journey.
And in your life's journey, education is often identified as being an equalizer. How has education been an equalizer in your life?
My mom was a teacher, so I learned early on the importance of education, because you know, if it wasn't for education and what she did every day, there wouldn't have been us. So I learned to appreciate education and the value of good education, and to cherish it. And well, you learn to cherish it for a couple of different reasons. One, because it's really cool when you bring home good grades and your mom and your dad are happy. And two, it's a lot better than bringing home bad grades and then make you go get a switch. That's the old school stuff, and it's all right if I talk about that?
Sure, I remember the old school.
So you learn from different motivational factors the value of a good education. But it continues, not only, you know, in the classroom, but we talked about it earlier this evening. Every day, I get an education every day. I get an education when I go to work, when I turn on the television and I look at what's going on, and first of all, I learn what's happening, and I watch my colleagues, or I watch the competition, and I hear someone write something a certain way, or say something a certain way, or even a tie that I might like, because I like ties. But I'm always learning. So I guess, remember that education takes so many different forms, and learn to recognize the different forms and not to miss out on things. Because you can get an education from anywhere. Some of the best education I've gotten has come from my kids. A 12-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl, especially the little girl, because those little people, they will tell you stuff. They're just real. And they don't, it's not that they don't care, but they're just real. Like, no, Daddy, don't wear that. But why not? Because orange and purple don't go together, Daddy. You shouldn't wear that. It's not going to look good. And then they just walk up and give you a kiss and walk away. And you're like, oh, thank you, I appreciate that. But so you can learn from anyone at any time. But you have to appreciate education as a whole to be able to recognize those little moments.
Yeah, thank you. One of the things we try to espouse to our youth is the notion of social responsibility. Each one, teach one. Help to push someone over the edge when they feel as if they can't move to the edge. What's your motivation?
The ones that have taught me. A guy named Don Roberts, who's a news anchor in Virginia, who gave me my first job on the radio, who told me I can't pay you any money, but I can give you plenty of experience. So my first job I took for no money and got plenty of experience. But he didn't have to do that. He could have just said no. But he saw something in me that made him want to take the time to teach me something about the field that he was working in, that I wanted to get into. People like that motivate me to do things like this, to help in any way that I can for someone who wants to come in my footsteps. And you know, people say, I'm going to come take your job. Okay, come get it if you think you can get it. I want you to try.
And so what you're saying is perhaps students should take advantage of opportunities and not necessarily be paid for that experience, because they're gaining so much more in terms of a future possibility.
Oh yeah. I mean, can I take my towel?
Take your towel. Take your shoes off if you like.
I ain't even gonna take my shoes off. I might. If we get real comfortable, I might take my shoes off. Y'all take your shoes off too. Now y'all, everybody don't take their shoes off. Yeah, there we go. This is comfy. Now we just gonna chat. It's Mark's tie.
Would you like me to hold that for you? My husband likes ties.
I'm gonna put it in my, well, it's Mark's. So here, you hold it, give it to your husband. Tell him it's from me. Merry Christmas, early, from Jay Harris. Yeah, I worked for free for several months because it was more about the opportunity. I mean, I was not going to get the experience of being a working journalist if I had made the decision just to stay at my job in Washington, D.C. at MCI Telecommunications making $16,000 a year, because it wasn't what I wanted to do. It was not what I wanted to do. So I made a decision to move back home and work for free. And then I proved my worth, and they found a little money in the budget, and I made it up to $4 an hour, then $5 an hour, then $6 an hour. Ooh, and I was making some money then that I had to go out and get another job. So I had a couple jobs at the same time. But that's what you do. If you have a dream, if you have a goal, you do what you have to do to make it happen. I mean, you really don't have a choice. That's how I looked at it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And there is certainly value added in the experience. I was at a commencement several years ago, and what I shared with the students was that identify something that will keep you grounded. For me, it's a poem by Langston Hughes, A Dream Deferred. What happens to a dream deferred? You know, does it fester and dry up like a raisin in the sun, or does it ooze like a sore? I'm sort of paraphrasing. But what that did for me, even growing up in Fairmont, West Virginia, and through my life, I always reflect on that dream, because that's what keeps me grounded in that I want to achieve whatever my dreams are. And I also still have dreams, by the way. But what kept you grounded? You talked about a person who was a mentor, but what else may have kept you grounded?
I think it depends on the phase. When I was younger, before the little people came along, I had a poem too. It's If, by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. And it's long, I won't do it. I can do it. I learned it when I pledged my fraternity, but it's long. Look it up. It's a great poem. It's a great poem. The family keeps me grounded now, because I will go home and go, hey, did y'all watch the show? No, I was watching the cartoons. And no, we were playing video games, or no, we weren't home because the boy had a trumpet lesson, or no, what, you were on television tonight? I didn't even know. And you realize, whether you want to realize it or not, that it's just a job. It's a great job. I love it to death, I really do. But it's not who I am. It's what I do. When I go home, that's who I am. So that really grounds me. It makes me realize that even if I even attempt to get a self-inflated view of myself, I go home and, could you put the dishes in the dishwasher and do the laundry, and the kids are yours, I see you later. It brings you right back to earth.
Indeed.